Welcome back to some of the best stories from r/TalesFromTechSupport. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's take a look at the first story. It's called Help is Nice. I work as an IT administrator for a company in the automotive industry. We recently hired a new head of sales. This guy was extremely motivated in every possible way. He decided to take it upon himself to do a complete hardware changeover in his department, which was originally scheduled for us IT folks to handle. In some cases you might appreciate the help, but in this case he took things a little too far. Instead of asking how things work, he decided to figure it all out on his own. At one point, he literally removed entire network sockets from the wall using a screwdriver, because he couldn't figure out how to get the cable out properly. My personal highlight was, this guy tried to remove a power strip that was mounted to our conference table. He confidently assured me he had done this kind of thing before. Fast forward 2 minutes, and surprise, the entire building loses power. We had to restart everything in stages, because just flipping the fuse back wouldn't work. Everything tried to power up at once, and it overloaded the system. In the end, he got a ban from touching anything technical by himself again. Moral of the story: help is great, but only if you know what you are doing. The next story is called DNS Error. I used to work in call center tech support for a major American ISP, but I quit back in August. Honestly, I got fed up with the policies. It felt like they were designed more to avoid sending out technicians than to actually fix the customer's issues. I was one of the few people in the call center with a technical background, so I'd often figure out more in-depth issues that weren't even in our troubleshooting script. About a month after I finished training, I was working the second shift when a call came in from a supervisor in our cable TV support department. He had a customer on the line who was furious about his internet not working, and the tech who came out had basically just shrugged it off as an issue with the customer's third-party router. The customer wasn't having it though, so I took the call and promised him I'd look into things properly. He'd already bypassed his router and plugged his Mac directly into the modem, so I figured I'd check if the problem was really with his equipment or something else. We started with the basics: power cycling the modem and rebooting the computer, but nothing worked. Here's where things get interesting. I had him open up the terminal and ping 8.8.8.8, which went through fine. Then I had him try pinging google.com, and nothing. This told me there was something going on with DNS. I asked him to check his network settings, and that's when I found the issue. His DNS was set to manual configuration with one IP address, 127.0.01. For those who aren't familiar, that's the loopback address, which means his computer was trying to use itself as its own DNS server. I have no idea how it happened, and honestly I'm not sure I want to know, but that's what was going on. It was a quick fix from there. I explained that he could use Google DNS or Cloudflare DNS, or just set it to configure automatically via DHCP. Problem solved. The funny part was that the entire time he assumed I was a supervisor. It wasn't until the end of the call that I told him I was just a month out of training. The third story is called An Epic Adventure. Once upon a time, during a rare and peaceful lunch break, I was enjoying a humble meal when a distant call echoed through the land. The maidens of the front office had encountered a mysterious riddle, one that tested the very limits of their patience and skills. They could make calls, but alas only for 30 seconds at a time. After exactly half a minute, the connection would vanish, as if carried away by dark magic. Reluctantly setting aside my elvish bread, I donned my enchanted hat. Well, a hairnet really, because the journey required passing through the hygiene area. As I arrived at the scene, the maidens looked quite distressed. You see, their duties involved a lot of phone calls, and 30 seconds were never enough to fulfill their tasks. One of the maidens had already vanished, riding off into the horizon as her shift ended, but the other remained, hopeful that the sorcerer, me of course, could banish the curse that had befallen them. Many spells were cast upon the problem. I tested calls from voice over IP to voice over IP, voice over IP to external, inbound and outbound, all to no avail. Each time, like clockwork, the connection would drop after 30 seconds. Then I remembered the ancient scrolls. In those days there was talk of an old foe, Skype for Business. It had a peculiar quirk. If one user didn't finish their first breakfast properly, another could not receive the second breakfast. It was a stingy program in the race of mealtime allocation. With a wave of my hand and a mighty spell known as Task Manager, I uncovered the truth. The first maiden, in her haste, had not properly finished her first breakfast. She had disconnected, but had not signed off. As a result, the second maiden's calls were doomed to the same 30-second fate. I swiftly ended the forgotten session, and lo and behold, the calls were restored. With the issue resolved, I returned to my chambers, savoring the remainders of my elvish bread, knowing that I had saved the day once again. The last story is called Magic. Back in the mid-90s, when mobile phones were just becoming popular, I had one of those state-of-the-art mobile phones in a car kit. I ran my own business, fixing computers and building them solo. To stay available on the go, I would redirect my office phone to my mobile whenever I was out. One day, while driving down the road, I passed by one of my most annoying clients. I believe in killing them with kindness, so when my phone rang and it was him, I turned around to head back. Still on the phone with him, I listened to his usual tale of tech woes. I pulled up to his house, got out of my car, and as I walked to his front door, I asked, "How soon do you need me there?" He responded, "As soon as possible." At that very moment, I opened his door, hung up the phone, and called out, "Is this soon enough?" I'll never forget the look on his face. His jaw literally dropped. After I fixed the problem, it was a simple one, he couldn't stop shaking his head, asking, "How did you do that?" I smiled and said, "Magic." Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.